So I was at a mortgage banker's lunch maybe 3 months ago, and any political philosophies or affiliations or opinions aside, Sonny Perdue was there speaking to us, and he made a very true statement. He said one of the great things about living in the United States of America is that we have access to capital. Like Chuck mentioned, I lived in Mexico for about a year, and one of the big differentiators there is people don't have access to capital like we have here. You can't just go buy a home, or you can't go get access to capital to buy a business. And that's what he was referring to, and he was kind of referring to the responsibility that comes along with our access to capital. It was really good talk, but but the access to capital, it is a big deal. The fact that people in the United States have the ability to go own a home is a very big deal. The question from the referral trigger last week is what prompted me to do this sentiment in particular. You guys remember what it was?
Of course we do.
Okay, good. It was...
As long as I'm asking to tell you what it was.
No, I'm going to tell you. It was, the question was, what have you not shared in a Power Core meeting because you thought it was obvious information to everyone else? And for me, that was down payments. And it's funny, I do get a comment a lot of times with clients. Well, I don't have the 10% or the 20% to put down on a house, and I hear that getting a mortgage these days is really difficult to do. So do I have any options? And the answer is absolutely, absolutely. There are options out there. And so today I'm going to break those down, and I'm going to keep this. I'm going to keep it fairly simple. I'm not trying to dive too deep. Just so you can have an idea of what the options are. The two mortgage programs that most people know about are FHA and conventional mortgage programs, and those are the two that you would hear about most often. And here's the main difference on those programs when it comes to a down payment. The minimum down payment on a conventional program is 5%. So on a $200,000 house, I know what that is? 5%? Math people?
10,000.
1, 2,
10. Okay, good. $10,000. And on an FHA mortgage, the minimum down payment is 3.5% on an FHA.
3,500.
So it's a little less. It's a little less. Now here's sort of the flip side of that coin, right? Less down payment on an FHA mortgage, greater down payment on a conventional mortgage. Mortgage insurance is what you pay when you don't put down 20%. Right? That's kind of the insurance involved with accessing this capital with less skin in the game. You pay more mortgage insurance when you put down less money. So 3.5%, you're going to pay a little more mortgage insurance per month. That's the flip side of the coin. So there are two other programs that are very common. One is that these two are the main ones. One is VA. If people have military experience, they qualify for a VA. A lot of people are afraid of VA loans, actually, out there. A lot of real estate agents are kind of afraid of them. They're kind of, oh, this is going to be a VA. And a lot of people who have the ability to do a VA loan don't do it, because I guess they hear bad news about it. Honestly, if I had the ability to do a VA loan, I would do it all day, and here's why. There's not necessarily any required down payment. 100% financing if you want to go that route. And there is no monthly mortgage insurance, which is kind of crazy. And that program has the lowest interest rates right now. So if I could do the VA loan, I would do one all day long. And the second one is for rural properties, and that is the USDA loan. It's done by the USDA. And it's similar to the VA. You have to, you can't make over a certain amount of money. It's specifically for rural property, so it has to be geographically eligible. But it's similar in the fact that it is 100% financing. There's very little monthly mortgage insurance on that guy. But the main thing to know is that these two programs over here, there are different eligibility factors for these two programs, but they're both 100% financing. We do them all the time. And those are the main four programs that you'll see with just about any mortgage lender. So zero down payment, but greater eligibility requirements. FHA and conventional, 3.5% on an FHA, 5% on a conventional. So you don't really have to have 10 or 20%, although it's great if you do. The last thing I'll talk about is there are down payment assistance programs for people. I was talking about my friend Spencer here, and to be honest, he didn't even have the 3.5% for the FHA mortgage. Now, he was very responsible financially. He has a great job. He doesn't really have any debt. He is saving money on a consistent basis, but didn't have the capital he needed for the down payment and whatever else he would need to move into the house and all that stuff without just spending all of his money. So what do you do for people like that are very stable, very solid people, but just don't have the capital? There are down payment assistance programs. One that we use in particular a lot is called the Georgia Dream Program. That's not so important to remember the name of the program, but here's essentially how these things work. They use an FHA mortgage where the minimum down payment is 3.5%. And then they give you either a grant or sometimes it's what's called a silent second mortgage, where you actually do have a loan, a second mortgage against the property, but you don't make any payments on it. It just has to be paid off whenever you sell it down the road. And so they were able to give him $5,000 as a silent second. That goes towards the down payment and any remainder of closing costs. And he only has to have $1,000 of his own money in the deal. And so it's really a great program. Again, because they're doing that and their risk is a little greater, because on that second mortgage, there are greater eligibility requirements, better credit, a lower debt-to-income ratios, things like that. So there are down payment assistance programs out there that can offset some of even the minimum down payments of 3.5% or 5% that are available. So the next time you hear somebody says, "Hey, I'd really like to buy a house, but we're trying to save money. We don't know if we have the money to buy a house with," there are options, and let them know who we are, Brent Brownlee at Southeast Mortgage. I'd love to talk to them and see if those options fit them. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask.